Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to the board meeting. We're now back in open session. And the first order of business is we need to pledge allegiance to the flag, which is in the corner over here. The next item is the approval of the agenda, and we just want to switch the education services up earlier so Heidi can make her presentation without having to wait around. So otherwise, that's the only change. So do we have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved.
Set. Can you hear this? Hello, hello?
Can you hear?
Yeah?
Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear?
Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello? Better? Okay. Well, we'll cut really close to the microphone.
Testing, testing.
There you go.
Okay.
Probably Judy.
Okay, so you're welcome. So the amended agenda, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Special recognitions, which there are many. And the first one is Press Democrat Youth Service Award nominees. Chris, who's going to?
Yeah, so we're proud to acknowledge Quincy Allen and Hannah Frenberg for being nominated for the Press Democrat Youth Service Awards. Great job, students.
Are they here? Are you guys here? Okay, recognition of CTE students who completed OSHA certification.
Yeah, we'll welcome Heidi and Clay to the podium, Heidi Mickelson and Clay Pafford, to recognize these amazing students. There were many, and I know that some, but not all, are in attendance this evening. So
Here we go. Hopefully this is on. Yes. So within CTE pathway, we had, or all the pathways, in healthcare, sports medicine, plant science, ag mechanics, and woodshop, we had about 80 kids go after their CTE certifications. Many have finished, knowing that this was the night we were going to present them. And so there are a handful, not all 80 are here, so we don't have to sit through that. But we do want to recognize anybody. If we miss you, please, at the end, let me know. I do have certificates and cards, but we were trying to grab them as they were coming in. So as your name's called, please come up front for a picture. Gracie Ascoop with her ag science general industry. Okay, Blaine Beckman with a general industry, the construction course.
Aaron Cabrera Mosqueda for general industry. Peter Conrique, general industry.
Casey Coop with the ag course and the patient care course. Joshua Christopher Hagel with the healthcare course. Jenna Hantz with the agriculture course. Shelly Hantz with the agriculture and the construction course. Isla Care with the agriculture course.
Atticus Licklider for the general industry.
Eric Mallard with the agriculture and the 10-hour construction course. Claire Maloney with the agriculture course.
Cameron Yang Batai for the general industry.
And Marcos Ornelas with the 10-hour construction course. Again, this is just a handful of them. We have about 80 certificates altogether. So congratulations. This is a lifetime certificate. Get Jenny and smile.
Squeeze in, Josh.
Yes, self-identify. Move in, like you like each other. Move in, turn sideways.
Jeannie.
Do any board members want to be in the picture with them?
Sure.
Yeah, we can have a board member.
Why not?
As I was saying when they were clapping, this is a lifetime certificate also. So these will follow with them forever.
Hold on, Jenny, we got one more. Did we
Yeah.
miss anybody else by chance that maybe we didn't see?
Eduardo just snuck in. Eduardo Gomez with the patient care one.
At least it wasn't a folding chair. With wheels. With wheels.
Okay, recognition of the Annalee World Quest team.
did Rachel Ambrose make it this evening? If not, that's okay. I told her that I would recognize the students. What an amazing accomplishment. There was an article written in the Press Democrat. They were recently back east competing, And I would like to recognize, first and foremost, Rachel Ambrose for her leadership and support of those students. Chris Nelly, Amani Melissa, Dylan Lamb, Luca Pecora, and Drew Horick were all acknowledged and recognized in competing as members of the World Quest team. So how about a round of applause for those students? And for Miss Ambrose. All right.
Congratulations, boys.
Come on up.
Epic thing to do. Good job, you guys. That's fantastic. Oh, Jenny. Falling, don't look. Congratulations, you guys.
Okay, recognition of student board representatives. Who might that be?
Hi, guys.
And Lene is obviously not here,
I know.
okay.
Sorry.
but great thanks to both of you. It's really important. I mean, I know you guys don't officially have a legal vote, but what you have to say and what you bring is really important.
Thank you.
You have maybe the most important constituency that you represent, which is the students. So thank you. And I really appreciate you speaking your mind and speaking up and speaking truth to power and all
Thank
that
you.
good stuff. So good for you.
Thank you so much. Oh,
Yeah, we can give one to Greg. Yeah. We can give one to Greg for Lenasia.
I think the principals were going to maybe comment on this item as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. Did you guys have anything you would like to add? Yes. Okay. Yep.
Should I do a reveal? No, I'm kidding. A little unboxing.
So yeah, we'll have the principals speak on behalf of their students. We wanted the board first to have an opportunity to recognize the students as an integral member of our governance team. And thank you, Alina, for all your insights and for meeting with me and Mr. Brown. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, so I wrote a few remarks, and so this year at Laguna High School, civic engagement has been an emerging theme with students stepping up to make meaningful contributions to their community. Our school has seen an inspiring rise in student leadership and service, led in part by our outstanding school board representative, Lenasia, who could not be here tonight. Lenasia has been a strong voice for our students at the district level, demonstrating the kind of poise, responsibility, and advocacy that sets the tone for what civic involvement can and should look like. We're also incredibly proud of students like Emmy Kubas, Sam Taylor, Emily Belahadia, Izzy O, Isaac Deering, Jaden Gregg, Davin Petros, and others who have actively been involved in local organizations that shape and support our community. Their participation in the Forestville Chamber of Commerce, Forestville Planning Association, Sunrise Rotary has brought student perspectives to the table in important local conversations. Additionally, many of our students have rolled up their sleeves to volunteer with organizations such as Redwood Empire Food Bank, Food for Thought, contributing their time and energy to important causes across Sonoma County. Lastly, a sincere thank you goes out to Jamie Malone and the rest of the staff whose encouragement, mentorship, and unwavering support have been instrumental in motivating our students to step into these roles. Jamie's dedication to fostering student involvement has not only opened doors for meaningful civic participation, but it's also helped cultivate a sense of purpose, responsibility, and community and pride amongst our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Now we have, oh, sorry, Chuck. Okay.
No.
How about now? Good? Yeah, okay. I want to say I've really appreciated Alina's energy and fearlessness this year, and her willingness to bring her voice into the room to express opinions on all topics. This comes from Jared Brown in leadership. He says, Alina has been a valuable member of leadership class this year, stepping up to represent her peers as the ASB board rep. Alina has an impressive ability to connect to her classmates and to ask important questions so that she can provide critical insight into the student experience at Annalee High School. We're excited that Alina has secured the position of ASB Vice President for the 25-26 school year. As her enthusiasm and excitement for our school and community are energy-generating behaviors that her colleagues feed off of. We want to thank Alina for holding this important role with commitment to her peers and our district as a whole. Thank you.
Yeah, good job. Okay. Recognition of retiring employees.
I can jump in there, Chris. So this year we have 3 certificated and 1 classified employee who have announced their retirement. Unfortunately, Sherry Ponzo, the classified employee who was a food service worker for Annalee High School, was not able to be here tonight. But the 3 certificated folks are here tonight, and so I'm going to ask Chuck Wade, since they're all from Annalee High School, to come up and say a few words about our retirees.
And once again, I've got some words from some other folks, and if they're in the audience, they're welcome to share them also. We'll do it in alphabetical order. So Ellen Hulamard. I have some words from Joel Stickle to start.
Yeah, come on up.
Yeah, come on up. Joel shares, I loved working with Ellen when she was in our department. She was like a Swiss Army knife. She was always having to change and adapt and fill in when no one else would. She began by teaching non-college prep English when we had that, but then she had to take on AP Lang when Lynette got sick, and then honors English, and then culinary, and then world history. And I know that more than once she was asked to take on sections after she was already approved for part-time release. Not very many teachers would be willing to give up that release for the good of the school. She's the ultimate team player. In addition to her adaptability, she was also a bit of a curriculum wonk. I remember that she was always reading up on new curriculum or other teaching materials. She was great to talk with and easy to get along with. Ellen will be missed. From Melissa McLaughlin, don't think I see. Ellen has been so supportive of me in my first 2 years at Annalee. She's a straight shooter and jam-packed with integrity. You can always count on her to work through a new idea or strategize about a tough moment in the classroom. She's funny and supportive and is always dreaming up ways to get the students engaged and leveling up their academic and social skills. I'm so happy to call her a mentor and friend. You need this or you
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, so I've been working with Ellen. This is my 3rd year, and she's been working with sophomores. And so it's always like this thing in the beginning of the year. She's like, I'm like, how's it going? And she's like, well, you know, the sophomores, they have a hard time keeping their hands to themselves and all of this. But she knows that where they're headed. And by the end of the year, you know, they have grown so much. And so she loves to watch that process. And I don't know, I just love the patience that she has with that age group. And we're lucky to have her. She's going to be very difficult to replace. And I'm just so grateful to be able to have worked with her. And I hope you have an amazing retirement. Yeah.
We will miss your graceful presence on campus. Congratulations.
Chuck, can I add also that Ellen has taken over the short-term independent study for, I don't know how many years, but all 3 years that I've been here. And not a lot of people want to manage that. And, you know, she was so helpful in helping to create, you know, revise documents and just make sure that we're capturing that ADA and supporting our students that needed to go out in short term. So we're going to miss that as well.
Ms. Kellogg, the math department has collaborated. They've actually got some words that I did not include here, but you'll probably see those elsewhere. So they share that they would like to honor, appreciate, and celebrate Julie. Julie has taught math here for 7 years. People underestimate the impact of a good teacher. Julie's made a significant contribution to this school, and we express our sincere gratitude, appreciation, and heartfelt thanks for her dedication and impact. Her patience and kindness have had a positive impact on her students' lives. She's inspired a love for learning, and fostered critical thinking. She used her passion for teaching to connect with students and to support their learning. She helped students overcome challenges and achieve goals. We're sorry to see her go, but we're also a little worried about who's going to keep Alex Wilson in check now. Her legacy is the hundreds of kids who are better academically and personally after learning with her. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Oitzinger. I learned from Gianna this afternoon that you've worked at each of our high schools, El Molino, Laguna, Annalee. Gianna shared that you're absolutely passionate about the environment. It's your driving force, your commitment to the planet. She also shares that you know how to barbecue gopher. So,
Barbecue go.
yeah. um, Kim also shared about your passion for the environment and the environmental science classes. She talked about the program that you built at El Molino in your years there, and your willingness to take on physics when you moved to Annalee, and continue your passion for the environment and your AP environmental science classes and the clubs that you worked on. She shares that you plan to sail around the world. Sounds pretty great. Okay, well that's pretty good. And then from Mary Beth Smith, I'm pleased to acknowledge the many years of dedicated service that Kate Oitzinger has provided to our students, our school, our district, our community, and most importantly, our planet. Kate has been one of the district's most valuable utility players, holding and consistently utilizing all three of the high-need science credentials. She's been an excellent teacher, an ideal mentor for young people. Kate's greatest legacy as a teacher will be the mark she's left in our community and planet. Kate has fostered thousands of students into the true environmental stewardship. She's volunteered countless hours to many significant projects that have made our district more environmentally friendly, and she has inspired and empowered a new generation of young people to protect our Earth. It's been a great pleasure working with you. Congratulations on a well-deserved retirement. Congratulations.
No, no, we have a slideshow. Everyone's gonna have to come over here to watch the slideshow, and then I'll take a picture right after. But make your way this way to see the TV. Yeah, come on. It's a big deal. It's kind of cool. Maybe I did it. I don't know. Some of you guys are really hard to find online.
We'd like to have the retirees come up and take some photos with Chuck, and we will hand deliver your crystals to you. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So we are now moving to input from the community on items not on the open agenda. Jamie Malone.
You can hear me now.
There we go.
Yes. All right, Jamie Malone, Laguna High School. First, I'm just going to read you an update from Emily, one of our student council members. She said, on April 18th, my school had a spring festival. We had an amazing turnout, in my opinion. We had a lot of fun activities such as a basketball pong, cornhole, bubbles, face painting, and others. We also had a silent auction, with a lot of amazing prizes. I think we did great fundraising wise, and I'm sure people had so much fun just by seeing the smiles on everyone's faces. I'm so glad that we went through with having our spring festival. Thanks to Ms. Malone for taking the time to help us plan it. I can't wait to have the opportunity to plan another one. So an update on our spring festival, we had over 20% of our student population there. If you can imagine, 20% of any population anywhere is pretty cool. We had a handful of families, students that brought their families with them. We had over a dozen community members, just the people that walk through campus with their dogs or here playing softball. Their silent auction and their pizza sales raised enough money for each of them to have a yearbook and for their end of the year celebration. We wish that a board member had been there, but next year, because they want to have it happen again. On Earth Day, the students all got together. They weeded the old El Molino garden. They planted in the new garden beds that were donated by Sebastopol Hardware. They filled at least 8 5-gallon buckets of trash and continued to pick up throughout the day. So way to go for Earth Day. We've had a group that's been working with the Forestville Planning Association, and they planted a native plants garden here in the Oak Park. And the Forestville Planning Association is putting a plaque to honor Laguna High School students for taking the time to make that native plants garden. This Friday, we have a history class going to Point Reyes National Seashore. Next Friday, we have a group going to Sebastopol Center for the Arts for the photography exhibit. And the following Friday, we have a group that has asked for a second time to go back to the food bank, and they're packaging food at Food for Thought, and they just walked down from the school. We're also partnering with Makerspace, and we have the next 3 Thursdays scheduled with our students to go work in the new Makerspace. So we got a lot going on, pretty exciting. Yes, okay, I'm gonna put my mom hat on. Many of you know I'm a mom of 4 kids, so I'm here often from sunrise, 4 softball teams out on the fields out here to sunset. And I'm sad to report that so many people talk about how dirty our campus is, from the construction workers to the parents. And I hope that we can do something about it, because I think that we have one of the most beautiful campuses in the district. And a lot of that is because with the construction going on, they can't empty out the bins, from what I understand it, so they're not emptying the trash bins. And the woman that was walking her dog today, I kindly said to her, maybe you could take your dog waste with you instead of putting it in all of our trash bins as well. But it is a problem, and I think that we should address it and honor our campus, because we're putting a lot of time and money into beautifying it. So let's try to encourage the people around to pick up the trash, because it's not, the majority of it is not from Laguna students. Our students are doing a lot to help pick up trash. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Casey Jones.
Hello, happy May. I'm here with a lot of fun fine arts facts, but I just want a quick shout out to Quincy Allen for the Press Democrat Youth Service Award, as well as Cormac Gaylord, the Scholarship Athlete Award from the Press Democrat. Quincy Allen is one of our violin players in orchestra, and Cormac is a trombone player as well as a wonderful track cross country person. So a few fun fine arts accomplishments, and I know I talked about the somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200 people who came for our production of Mamma Mia, which was a amazing effort from the drama department and stagecraft. And I just wanted to throw out some random facts. If you take all of the hours of the dance shows that had happened, that would be a solid 12 hours of dancing. That doesn't count the hundreds of hours outside, rehearsals and tours and things that they do, competitions, festivals. If my step counter is right on my phone, then the band and I marched a total of 37.5 miles in preparation for the parade, including that's right, for the parade. That doesn't count the like 5 laps I made them do before the morning of the parade, because I didn't do those laps. So shout out for the bands in those awesome new uniforms. They looked fabulous. Thank you. We did get first place. I asked the visual arts teachers, and a rough estimate, they have created up till now about 4,250 pieces of visual art, mixed media and different things like that. That includes 6 murals. That doesn't include 60 screen printed t-shirts they're working on now, and 10 AP art portfolios. I also asked the ceramics teachers about their pieces, and they, by estimation, made 3,500 different pieces of ceramic art that includes mugs, plates, of course, my favorite, whistles and shakers, and of course, bowls. And so it's just a lot of different things that they've done between the choir singing across campus and the thousands of pictures I'm sure they've taken in digital photography. There is so much art and wonderful things being created by our students. And so I just wanted to drop in those fun random facts. We do still have 3 performances left from my jazz band and band. That will be on the 19th of this month, as well as the 22nd. And the choir will be performing on the 21st. I believe all those concerts are at 6:30. The jazz band will be here at the Performing Arts Center on the 19th. And the other 2 performances will be on the Annalee campus. I believe so, yeah. The choir sometimes will say what time the doors open, so if you see 6 o'clock, that you have double check the poster for me. But I just wanted to thank you for the amazing support of the arts and all of the different things that they've been able to do. Shout out to Alina, of course, for the work in the musical that you did. Great job. And I'm just so proud of the art that we create in our department for the community, not only our student community, but the West County community as well. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Casey. Loretta.
Okay. I just have a quick report that we had our 24th annual Annalee Alumni Golf Tournament, and it was one of our most successful ever. I think one of the things we need to buy is an additional microphone. Oh, it's not spitting. It's not. All right. I want to thank especially Jeannie and Linda, who worked their booties off all day long. I want to thank Lewis and Chris, who made wonderful donations to our auction. And I want to thank, we had the most administrators ever to attend our tournament. So we had Chris and Dan and Chuck and Joe Elwood and all of their wives attend. That was really nice. Thank you. Our next tournament, so if you want to get on the list, I always tell people it sells out in 2 weeks. When I put out the notice, it sells out. So our next one is May 1st. I will put out the information probably the 1st of February. So start thinking of donations. Thank you.
Thank you, Loretta. That's awesome. Okay, we are moving on to the consent calendar. Would someone like to make a motion that we approve the consent calendar?
I move that we approve the consent calendar.
Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion, questions, comments?
I do have Laura Schmidt, Director of Special Education Student Services here. There were some contracts there. If you had any particular questions, she is here to answer those questions as they pertain to her department. If not, then it's up to you.
Going once, going twice?
I just wanted to say, what's it called? J3 for wellness coaches. I think it's great. I just think funding for that's really important. And I just wanted to say thanks.
Nice, good. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Great, thank you. So that's consent. Were there any actions heard in closed session? Sean?
Yes. Excuse me. So the board took action in closed session under agenda item number D2 to approve a stipulated suspended expulsion for an Annalee High School student. The vote was Buckner, aye, Trinella, aye, Fernandez, aye, Helton, aye, Gutierrez, aye. The board took action in closed session under agenda item number D3 to approve a stipulated suspended expulsion for a Laguna High School student. The vote was Buckner, aye, Trinella, aye, Fernandez, aye, Helton, aye, Gutierrez, aye. The board took action in closed session under agenda item, I have a repeat here. It says number D3, but I think it was that?
That would have been, that would have been
Oh, all right.
D3.
Okay.
Public employment, yeah.
All right, D2, approve a catastrophic leave program request for a classified employee. The vote was Buckner, aye, Trinella, aye, Fernandez, aye, Helton, aye, Gutierrez, aye.
Thank you. Okay, reports. The first report would be from our student board representative. That would be Alina.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, now you can hear me good. Okay. To start this report, I wanted to say that last month, 4 out of 6 girls that attended Archie Williams High School died in a car accident. I thought this would be important to state so that their family, friends, and loved ones know that we as a district are thinking of them and sending our support. I knew the family of one of the girls, and without making any online posts without all of the family's permission, I think it's important for us as a school district to send our love to all of their families. We have construction going on for our new CTE building, and while it's very exciting, we lost half of our student parking spots, which is creating a lot of anger. So if that can be changed for the next school year, all of that anger could be replaced with gratitude and appreciation. I beg of you, there's hundreds of us, and I don't want to park at Safeway next year. We had our prom rally and then prom. It was super fun. We had prom at the backdrop, and my class helped set up for like 4 hours the day before. We had the Apple Blossom Parade with our band and the Interact Club represented. Congrats to our band for getting first place. We had Climate Action Night at the JC where our AP Environmental Science classes and other schools attended too about different props in the state and our county for climate and environmental action. AP tests are happening this week and next week. I won on Friday. Pray for me, please. April 23rd was our only in West County Film Festival. 400 people attended at Rialto Cinemas. It was for our the film and lit classes for seniors and juniors, and that's pretty cool. Our Academic World Quest team went to Washington, D.C. I'm friends with a couple of the guys that went, and it's very cool. They got to meet a lot of important politicians. Pretty cool. Ethnic studies students participated in Santa Rosa's annual Zine Fest and led a workshop. So that's pretty cool. Spring Club Day. This is where all available clubs got to have stands and tables and talk about their clubs and sell food. Last night was our dual enrollment workshop with the SRJC. This week is Teacher Appreciation Week. Yay, teachers! We, as a student body, obviously appreciate everything you do for us. You're what our whole day is, so thanks for making it fun. Speaking of appreciation, one of our custodians, Jose, will be retiring in August, and we need to give him a shout out. He is such a good worker, and he's so friendly and kind. I've known him since my freshman year, and he's just he's the best. Love you, Jose. What a king. Our boys volleyball team won league for the 2nd year in a row, which is insane. And they went to playoffs last night. They gave the game their all. It was a fantastic night. Went to 4 sets. They had an incredible season led by their amazing coach, Rye. And we have 3 graduating seniors, Alakai, Jorge, and Magnus. And they're just all wonderful guys. So proud of them. Coming up, we have SRJC Summer Bridge Program, which is an 8-week summer program for students who want to take classes at the JC in English, math, counseling, and mental health. More information on that can be found in Parent Square, I think, or just on our website. Monday, May 12th are the Spring Sports Awards, and I really appreciate that they are not during a board meeting. That's great. I really hope that we can make sure our calendars across all aspects of the school, whether that be through sports, the arts, board meetings, or other important events, don't overlap. I hope we can make that improvement. That'd be great. Another thing we need to work on is changing the names of the athletes on the wall in the gym. My name from volleyball in the fall is still on the board. So yeah. The Annalee Choir Concert presents Mixtape Rock on Wednesday, May 21st. That's going to be a great show with a live band. Free virtual workshops for understanding and supporting youth anxiety and mental health will be held on Thursday, May 22nd from 5 through 6 p.m. The flyer is on the Annalee paw print on Parent Square. On another note, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Over 280 million people worldwide suffer from depression, myself included. Depression is one of the main causes of suicide. Suicide is one of the most common ways to die from depression. Suicide is the third leading cause of death in individuals aged 15 through 29. Under our new political administration, the Education Department stopped $1 billion worth of funding for schools and mental health. I am very lucky to go to a school that prioritizes the students and our well-being. I strongly believe that no matter what, we as a board have to recognize and stand behind the reality of mental health and disorders in youth today. These are some of the most stressful, high-stakes years of our lives. We go into high school knowing that what we do over the next 4 years could change the trajectory of our entire lives. Some teenagers come into high school with a diagnosed chemical imbalance in their brains on top of that. This is real, this is serious, and I know our district's continuous acknowledgement of this would mean the world for our student body. To close my report, I wanted to acknowledge more I wanted to encourage more transparency between the board and my school. I think it's very important for the board to be in touch with both students, teachers, and general faculty. Ask us what we want, ask teachers what they want, ask honest questions during open sessions so that the public can be well informed. It's important for the people at the top of our administration to receive hands-on information for themselves and form their own opinions. Immerse yourselves in the arts and sports events, watch our school news report every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, read our paw print and our student-run paper, West County World, that you can find in our main hallway. Like our Portrait of a Graduate system promotes, we must always, at all levels, strive to be better. Lastly, I am very pleased to announce Jonah Carone as our new student board rep. He is not only a friend of mine, but the only person I trust to hold this position to justice. All in all, this has been a great learning experience for me, and I'm very grateful that I got to be a part of it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Alina. Well said. Association reports. Julie.
It's creepy at night when you're here by yourself, I gotta say. The lion looks creepy if you're here by yourself at night, his eyes. Yeah, anyway, I miss him. Anyway, I'm Julie McClellan. I'm the CSEA chapter president, and short and sweet. We're looking forward to continuing negotiations next week, hoping to get to a TA, and I'm really looking forward to feedback on our counter proposal that the superintendent brought to you. So we're looking forward to hearing about that. The week of May 18th through the 24th is the time the state of California set aside to salute the important contributions of classified school employees. In our district, that's wrapped together with all employees, but there is a special week that's set aside. So just wanted to bring that to attention. Our members are busy with this last month of school activities, the 100 days of May, as they say, from coordinating AP testing to attendance to textbook and Chromebook return, set up for end of year events such as graduation, senior awards, Day on the Green, to prepping for summer work and end of year reports and campus cleanup. So we're busy. It's a lot right at the end. And I'm getting a little refurb in the library, so I'm kind of excited about that, but that means a lot of packing up. So anyway, just come on around, see what's happening. There's a lot happening. Textbook return starts the 19th. It's a little bit of a fire hose of textbooks. And that's kind of for all the classified employees. It's really busy time. So we welcome you to be around and jump in and help if things are going on and just see what's happening on campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Board reports. Rio?
None at this time.
Linda?
Nothing.
Sean,
Not this time.
Jeannie, you'll have something.
I always do, don't I? Oh, thank you. So first I wanted to thank Eric Wyckoff for inviting me to judge, or I don't know, be a part of a panel for his economics project. I've done this now for a few years and it's always really fun, and I really love helping in the classes. So I'm going to put that out to teachers. If you want some help or you need somebody to be on a panel or to judge something or whatever, reach out to the board. We're always willing to assist. I also did job interviews with Ann Peterson's class. It was very informative. I had 4 young people that I interviewed, and was interesting. One of them, when I walked into the classroom, he was continually getting Mrs. Peterson's attention. Shall I say more? And it was then I interviewed him, and it was very interesting. He was a very bright young man, and although at first I could tell he didn't want to be with me in that room, he just had this real cavalier attitude. And I said I didn't think that he wanted me to go back to Miss Peterson and share his behavior. And boy, did he snap out of it. And then he goes, well, I've already interviewed for a job. I know how to do that, and la-da-da-da-da. And it ended up being a really great experience, I think, for both of us. But it was interesting at first. As you heard from Loretta, I spent the entire day volunteering at the alumni golf tournament. I think I got out of there. I think we got out of there, what, 10 o'clock? Or, yeah, so 10:30. Yeah, it was a long, long day, about 12 hours. But really great participation and a lot of fun. I was very thrilled. Casey, did Casey already leave? I was very thrilled to see the band marching down Main Street and wearing their new uniforms at the Apple Blossom Parade, and congratulations on first place. And I want to concur with Alina with regarding to having conflicts with regards to board meetings and school activities. So whenever we can, I always appreciate if we can not have those mixed together, because it's really hard. It's hard for us to participate, and it's hard for our student reps to participate in our meetings or with the other activities. So anytime we can deconflict, I think that's fantastic. Thank you.
I've got just 2 things that I've been thinking about, nothing that I've done, but just thinking. One is thinking about the new academy, and reading and listening to some podcasts about really looking at what education needs to be 5, 10, 15 years from now. And seems like a lot of what we teach in high school is based on what the colleges require in order to get into college. And then the colleges, their requirements are less and less really aligned with what people really need to be happy and functional in the world. So I think we're at and AI is coming into this in a major way that's going to affect education. So it's interesting to see the academy project-based learning getting started, because it's possible that that's really more the future direction of what we need to do in high school, rather than traditionally what we've been doing for 10, 20, 50, 100 years. I wouldn't be surprised if 5 to 10 years from now, there's more students in a project-based learning program than there are in the traditional college prep program. And who knows what college prep will become. So anyway, I'm really glad we're doing that program. I know it's a big push to get it going, but it feels like a pilot of a maybe of where we need to be headed into the future. Completely different topic. We spoke last board meeting about the reserve in our budget, the budget reserve. And I would like to bring that up for discussion, not action yet, but discussion next board meeting. It's a really important topic, and Lily, thank you for your really thoughtful letter to us. We asked for that, and it's good. We need to hear your argument. It's a good argument. And there are other things that we have to balance it with. But I think this is a really important board discussion and eventually decision. about how we remain fiscally responsible, that we don't get ourselves in trouble like Santa Rosa, that we don't kick the can down the road and just say, oh, well, we're not going to deal with it. It's going to get better later. And that we really support our amazing teachers and staff and programs that we already have, which we're doing really, really well in the big picture. So I'd like to have that on the agenda for next week. So think about it. Everybody's voice on the board is really important to help us figure out what to do. That's it.
I'll start off by just saying I'm pretty excited that, again, we're gonna the board will adopt the resolution for Staff Appreciation Week. I think it's cool how we recognize all staff together rather than certificated and classified at different times. And so all week celebrating Staff Appreciation Week. We so appreciate our teachers and support staff for all their hard work and everything that they do to support our students and each other. We're really proud to have the board formally approve our TA with WSCTA this evening. I think our process is an anomaly when you look around the county, just the fact that we've been able to come to really solid agreements in the past 2 years and work collegiately at the table without a labor rep from CTA nor an attorney representing the district. So I want to thank Lily, Brian, Shaylin, and Joel for their engagement in that process. And as Julie mentioned, we're going to be continuing our work with CSEA, and I feel like we've got a really great working relationship with our CSEA partners. And as Julie mentioned, we're hoping to come to an agreement with a TA soon. We'll be back at the table with them next week. Big thanks to Loretta and the Annalee Alumni Association. Obviously, they're hosting the Staff Appreciation Barbecue on Thursday tomorrow, and so we're excited about that. And the golf tournament dinner is always a good time. And Loretta, I notice how hard you work as well as a lot of the other folks that support the alumni, but I mean, your effort is tireless. I know we've been communicating the last couple of days, getting things dialed in for tomorrow. I saw how hard you work. I know that you and Linda and Jeannie were there all day, as well as a bunch of other folks. So we really appreciate that support. And, it always looks like the golfers have a great time. And I've really enjoyed, that was the fourth dinner that I've attended in my time here. So, and I hear something to the effect of maybe 30 grand, maybe the biggest earnings in history. So I know you still got to calculate that, but that's awesome. Everybody's so generous in their donations, and just the support's really appreciated. So thank you for that. So many cool projects happening at our sites. This campus is looking amazing. Breaking ground on the CTE project. We're getting there, and that building's going to open up and be an amazing opportunity for our students, attract more students, and provide those facilities that are needed for those programs. I'd like to thank our taxpayers for supporting that bond measure. I think that that's really, really important. And thanks to the board, for supporting the recommendations that are brought forward, Jenny, Denise, and their team. It's really neat that those projects are coming to fruition. The district was recently featured in the Press Democrat. It was a very positive article amidst not such a positive school year in terms of press coverage for local school districts. So I'd like to thank Amy Windsor, who's a West County resident, for writing such a beautiful article about our district. As we heard tonight, the 100 days of May are underway, and I'm looking forward to closing out another what we believe is a successful school year. But I'm always especially excited for the commencement ceremonies. We're celebrating the class of 2025. There's something truly special about high school education. Watching the growth, the opportunities unfold, and the transition into adulthood for our adolescents that we serve is truly special. As you all know, I've served 20 years, my entire career, in high school educational settings, and I've been so impressed in my time here with our students. And the beautiful thing about education is that each year is a new beginning. And when you close out and you celebrate commencement ceremonies and watch those seniors walk across that stage and embark on their next journey, and then you start all over. It's a new beginning, it's a fresh start, and it's an opportunity to do better. So I'm really excited to close out another year here.
Thank you. Okay.
Question.
Please.
Have you asked Chris who's all going to attend the different graduations?
We need to figure that out. Yeah. So I'll touch base with the board. I mean, everybody's welcome, obviously, but we do need to determine who's going to be on stage, who's available at Annalee. And it's written on the agenda, but senior awards and scholarships at the Annalee High School Theater is on Tuesday, May 27th. from 5:30 to 7:30. And then obviously the graduation commencement ceremonies are on June 5th with Laguna High School here in the quad at 10 a.m. and Annalee down in the stadium at 5:30 p.m. So we'll determine who's available and who can be there, but we'd love to have the full board at both commencement ceremonies.
Thank you. We're going to do business services, Jenny, and then we're going to do education services, Heidi, and then we're going to come back into some kind of order.
Do you want to call the item?
Sure. Let's call the item. We're consideration of approval. Would someone like to make a motion that we consider approval of the Measure A Facilities Bond Audit Report?
So moved. Second.
Perfect. I'm here presenting for Andrew tonight as he is
Great.
not here, and we work collaboratively together on this one. This is consideration of approval of the 23-24 Measure A Facilities Bond Audit Report. Just a friendly reminder, you're already in our audit reports reviewing the prior year information, not the current year. I have Loretta Castleberry here tonight, who sits on our Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. They're the body we're required to have when we have a bond measure, and they meet to review expenditures. So I'm going to let her speak and present this item to the board.
Oh, dear. Okay, now I'm on. Okay, I'm here to report that the committee met. Jenny went over all of the projects that had been completed and those that will be completed, and presented us with the audit report. And we were happy to hear that it was a clean audit. And so we are here to ask you to approve the audit that was done for the bond.
Discussion, questions, comments, concerns? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? No. Thank you, Jenny. Okay, now we're going to jump to education services. Presentation regarding an update from the Career Technical Education at Educational Services TOSA positions. That would be Heidi.
Thank you. First, I want to thank the board for adjusting the agenda. We had a late night last night, and I would greatly appreciate being able to sneak out before and get it home before 9:30 tonight. I'm here on behalf of myself as the CTE TOSA. For those I haven't met yet, I'm Heidi Mickelson. And then I also have a report from Anita Sanduina, and then Chuck has a report also from Nicole, so all three TOSAs. Starting with Anita's, so this is the 2025 DEI Coordinator Report. Ongoing and poignant restorative conversations with students to support their reflection, learning, and growth. Conversations are related to their experiences here at Annalee and can follow discipline consequences. Anita has served over 300 students this year so far. She's been working on a data dive with students being served in our COST, SST, IEP, and 504 programs. Key research questions: who are they, and are there gaps in our system that need addressing? She's currently enrolled in the team coaching professional development. She's going to create a team induction process for our new Words and Wonders learning team for the 25-26 school year, which will be refined and used with subsequent district teams. She's also going to participate in the Inquiry Studio PD put on by the SCO, which includes her coaching 3 small teams of integrated teachers this summer and throughout the 25-26 school year. She's currently conducting closing coaching meetings for 20 staff participating in the grant-funded transformational coaching program. And she's working with Randy Hall's video students on 3 educational video shorts for broadcast in the 25-26 school year. They're wrapping up Safe School Ambassador program with Brooke Bell and Jared Brown with closing meeting certificates of completion for departing members and planning logistics and training for the 25-26 school year. And Anita has she has a supporting role in the development of houses and in PD for safety around de-escalation strategies using training in nonviolent communication. Lastly, she's conducting DEI committee meetings focused on the Youth Choose Survey data exploration and priorities for next school year. So that is on Anita. So the other day, a staff member asked me, "Hey Heidi, what is actually your job these days?" And I had to laugh and reply, "All duties as needed." Originally, that was kind of like meant to be a joke, but there is some truth to it. When this full-time CTE TOSA position was created, the focus was primarily on managing CTE funding, securing and implementing grants, and supporting related initiatives. While that remains the heart of the work, being full-time has allowed me to make a more active role in expanding our college and career readiness efforts, especially in areas of dual enrollment, work-based learning, and industry certifications. Just last year, you approved our first college and career access pathways, the CCAP MOU, to bring SRJC courses directly to the Annalee campus. As a result, we were awarded $100,000 at both Annalee and Laguna to implement these courses and expand early college credit access by embedding college classes into the high school schedule. This year, we had 4 CCAP classes offered, 2 in the fall, with Ag Business 56 and Animal Science 20, and then Ag Bus 2 and Agriculture 20, which is Plant Science, in the spring. Currently, Annalee is the only high school in the county where our own teachers completed the SRJC hiring process to teach these college-level courses. This allowed students in the Ag pathway to complete anywhere from 6 to 13 college units, depending on how many classes they took, just this year. I supported the instructors, Courtney King and Marin Powers, with course materials, curriculum alignment, and compliance with SRJC requirements, coordinated a field trip to SRJC Schoen Farm, and helped students navigate their dual enrollment process. Our work experience program has grown significantly from 11 placements last year to over 50 planned placements in 24-25. With 2 dedicated sections, Stacy Fortin has led the student placement part, while I've handled all the dual enrollment paperwork and support. Looking ahead, we plan to continue our 4 Ag courses and 2 work experience sections. We're also expanding to include a Kinesiology 4, which is Intro to Sports Medicine, for our sports medicine pathway with CCAP courses. And then Spanish for honors, they actually do volunteer work at a local school. And so some of their students are going to sign up for the volunteer work experience course. An enrollment data snapshot, just for kicks and giggles. In 23-24, we had 58 students who enrolled independently in SRJC dual enrollment. Just this fall, we had 134 individual students, with 70 of those kids were embedded JC classes into their daily schedule. Projected for next year, we have 156 individually enrolled students for embedded courses, with 185 total seats going to be offered at Annalee, plus all the independent dual enrollment. So we have a lot of kids that take ASL or the fire safety courses, Spanish, the PE, if they have to make a PE. All of those are not included in the data yet. According to the SRJC Factbook, only 4% of the Annalee High School students participated in dual enrollment in 23-24, and that number is projected to increase over 10% this next year. And I'm working with Greg to expand the CCAP offerings to Laguna and then broaden the course selection next year at the Annalee too. So in addition to early college credit, we focus on ensuring students graduate with industry recognized certifications, as you saw with the OSHA certifications tonight. Students in pathways have also received ServSafe and food handlers in culinary, CPR and first aid and sports med, along with others. These certifications give students tangible skills and credentials that set them apart in college and career pathways. One challenge highlighted in the Youth Trust survey is about how students don't feel quote unquote ready for life after high school, despite many resources available on campus. To address this last week, on April 29th, we hosted our first Future Ready Night. It was organized by a team of myself, Christy Calson, Willie Lapori, Louis Estrada, Sheila Richmond, Stacy Fortin, and Omar Cortez. The event drew over 100 attendees here in this library, including many incoming 9th graders and their families. The stations covered financial aid, dual enrollment, career pathways, social, emotional resources, AP courses and 4-year plans, work-based learning, and post-high school options. Feedback from participants included, there's so many options, can definitely get college credit here. The future doesn't have to be scary. That's from a survey we did afterwards. Each family received a take-home resource guide summarizing all rotations and support services. I brought copies for each of you guys as well, and we plan to continue hosting these in the fall. This March, I attended the Educating for Careers conference in Sacramento with 6 other CTE and core academic teachers. We explored strategies for CTE core integration, learned about new classroom technologies, and discussed ways to embed career readiness into curriculum. This summer, in partnership with SCO and through the Golden State Pathways program, 3 teacher teams, including a CTE, at least 1 CTE, and 1 or 2 core teachers will participate in an inquiry studio where they're going to engage in PD about industry externships, cross-curricular planning, designing and implementing integrated projects. And these teams will also continue collaboration throughout the school year. As we celebrate the class of 25 next month, we will recognize 115 CTE pathway completers. Each will proudly wear their white stoles at graduation. These students have demonstrated sustained effort in their pathway and are leaving Annalee with both skills and credentials that position them for future success. Thank you for your continued support with these programs, and I'm proud of the progress we've made and look forward to expanding opportunities for all students ahead.
Thank you, Heidi.
Chuck is going to speak on behalf of Nicole since she couldn't be here tonight in her work as the Educational Services TOSA.
I want to add, in terms of early college credit, obviously a lot of things going on. Another recent shift is around our TAs, our teaching assistants. They'll actually be teacher interns next year, and students will have an opportunity to earn college credit serving in those roles. We think it's really important. I want to thank Superintendent Meredith for working really hard to execute the MOU with the JC. It hasn't been easy necessarily in terms of figuring out how to get our teachers taken care of and making sure they don't lose any of their retirement benefits, anything like that. And yet students are still able to earn not only their high school credits, but college credit. We're innovating there in the county. It really makes a big difference for students to earn college credit while still in high school. Lots of good data around matriculation and completion later on, including down the road, life outcomes improved and so forth, if we can get them a foot in the door in college while they're still in high school. So we think it's important. Okay, so I'm going to channel Nicole for a little bit. She has really been taking on our most precious resource, right? We have time that we dedicate to professional development. We have a little bit of money, but mostly it's our time and how we use it that's really important. She's been a really fantastic partner in our journey over the last year or so. I still feel a little bit robbed of her last year, and she missed most of it. But she's been really helpful in thinking about how we get to a place where our professional development is actually useful to our staff. And I think we're on the cusp of figuring that out a little bit. And I really do credit her humility and persistence, tenacity in making it happen. So I think our professional development choices are coming more and more to reflect what we really value: teacher expertise and leadership, collaborative learning, authentic application, meaningful relationships, and our commitment to fostering belonging and joy on our campus. So finally, I'm a little slow learner here, but rather than primarily relying on outside presenters, we've shifted to empowering our own educators to share their knowledge and innovations. This approach strengthens our community while ensuring professional learning remains relevant to our specific context. Through peer coaching, integrated curriculum development, and teacher-led workshops, we're growing from within and building connections that we hope will help everyone feel valued and engaged in our work together. So I'm going to give you some examples of that, where we're really putting our money where our mouth is a little bit in terms of what our values are and how we're trying to support those experiences for all staff. We continue with our peer coaching community of practice. We're supporting 22 teachers right now with regular instructional coaching. Coaches are making progress in supporting the human and technical sides of teaching. coaches are trained in navigating the emotions that arise and stepping into the role of instructional leaders on campus. We'll be leveraging that group to welcome our new hires in the fall. We're already planning that now. We have a welcome celebration that we'll engage in for them. Each of those teachers will be paired with a peer coach. And actually, we're setting it up so that there's an opportunity for the folks who are engaging in professional development on campus this summer. We'll be able to welcome those teachers too. Heidi mentioned some of this stuff already, and she was involved, of course, in securing the grant funds that make it possible, but we'll have 3 days of paid work time for teachers who want to develop integrated curriculum and or work on standards-based grading this summer. We will also be supporting our 9th grade integrated cohort that I've mentioned to you folks before, in this space. So a collaboration between Blake Leibovitz and Ari Stur that will cohort our English 9 and Art 1. They'll have about 50 students in common next year. They have a week this summer to work on curriculum and development this summer in June. We have 3 teams. I think Heidi mentioned this one also. Project-based learning work. So Kai Hamblin and Kim McQuarrie are working together, Clay Pafford and Seth Gleckman, Ashley Vilchis and Jenny Mason. So that pairs sports medicine and science, construction and English language development and manufacturing. So those teams will be working on integrated curriculum together this summer, and they'll get coaching throughout the year. This spring, our approach to staff development has been a learning experience for us, and I think productive. It has also served as a way to strengthen relationships among teachers. So as mentioned, instead of inviting outside presenters in, we opted to reserve 3 classrooms and give the hour to a teacher who's excited to share something with their colleagues. Jason Carpenter created a space for teachers to share curricular ideas with one another and called it the incubation space. This idea involves the careful curation of groups. So he's really been thoughtful about creating those groups and ensuring that teachers who teach different subjects will have an opportunity to share. He's done a beautiful job setting the tone of those sessions, reassuring teachers that their expertise is valued by their colleagues. It's created in such a way that teachers get actionable feedback on lessons or projects they're designing. He also, in Pro Move, has been bringing home baked cookies to those events. So that's been very popular. Blake Leibovitz is one of 8 teachers this year who are working with Dr. Catlin Tucker. Catlin's a former Windsor High School teacher. She's got experience teaching in an integrated cohorted team. She uses standards-based grading. She's now actually an author and international speaker, so we feel pretty lucky to have her. But her particular area of expertise is around universal design for learning and student-led learning. We have a small grant that we secured to fund that experience for several of our English teachers, Blake McKenna Hurd, Joel Stickle, Des Barbosa, Lily Borgeson, Kelly Nichols, and Paige Greco. We've had a number of release days with Dr. Tucker, and they've also learned some peer observation techniques and tried out stuff and gotten feedback from each other on their learning. Blake has been hosting sessions for professional learning around a station rotation model and instructional technique. She'll also, I think, tomorrow we have our last PDA day, I think, with she'll be doing Playlist, which is another instructional strategy, UDL instructional strategy on sort of student-led learning. Our bilingual paraeducators have hosted sessions for staff this year to come learn more about their students learning English. The ELD team has a tremendous amount of resources to support their students, limited time for them to interact with the teachers. So we learned from teachers that actually speaking with the ELD team was really helpful, and they're eager for more chances to collaborate in the service of those students. Back in January, our PD Day really had another example of what can happen when we empower our teachers to lead professional learning. Staff nominated colleagues they wanted to learn from. Peg Sewell was tapped to share more about how she is so successful with some of our youngest students, our ninth graders, which are challenging, and our students with disabilities. Peg led a Differentiation 101 session with curated resources for all subjects. Teachers appreciated her attention to detail there and time to actually differentiate a lesson. We plan to continue being intentional about PD feeling useful to teachers, with time to both learn something and to have time to apply it. Seth Gleckman also led a session titled Raising the Stakes, Increasing Student Engagement Through Authentic Projects and Public Exhibitions of Learning. You guys heard about our Only in West County Film Festival. Seth is a practitioner of project-based learning. He's known by staff for creating projects that have a real-world audience. That event was created by Seth along with Randy Hall, Stacy Fortin. It involves the film and lit students writing a screenplay that's then filmed by media students shown at the Rialto. This is the kind of project that Seth presented. Sort of what are the pieces of that? How do you do that? How could we scale that across campus? Let's see, standards-based grading work. There are about 15 teachers who've decided to move toward this sort of bias-resistant method of assessment. We're pretty excited about that. One bright spot related to this work is the math department. Really proud of the incredible work and the hard work. Leslie Grassel, Rebecca Davenport, Alex Wilson, Jonathan Lopez, they have each dedicated themselves to learning about this grading method. It's actually really tough in math, but they've figured out how to make it work, each in a little bit different ways, and they're great at collaborating together. We'll host teachers this summer for paid work time to continue to integrate standards-based grading into their practice. I think it's a really important equity strategy for our campus. We want to support that as much as we can. We're thinking about professional development as an opportunity to strengthen relationships amongst staff. We're going to continue to aggressively pursue grant funds to supplement what we have to get us some access to high quality professional learning experiences. And we hope our approach to professional development shows our commitment to using this really valuable time, not just for skill building, but for improving campus culture. Through our professional development program design, we're simultaneously improving safety, expanding access, maintaining high expectations for all students. And by empowering our teachers as leaders and experts, we're building a sustainable professional learning community that responds to our unique needs while celebrating the diverse talents within our staff. This focus ensures that our professional growth directly enhances student experiences, and we hope ultimately creates an environment of belonging and joy for both educators and students. Thanks.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you, Chuck. It's really inspiring. Yeah. Let's finish education services since we're here.
Yep.
It's quick, and then we'll go back. So, second reading and consideration of approval of proposed new textbook and workbook for English language development. So it's a second read, so we need a,
I move that we approve the consideration of approval of proposed new textbook for English language development.
And I'll second that.
thank you, Rio.
Unless there's any questions, we're ready for the vote.
Questions? Alina, please.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I missed this. This was in human resources. Is that okay?
This one's Ed Services.
I know, but I have a question for human resources.
Well, we're going to human resources.
Okay,
now.
cool. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
You good? All those in favor? Alina? Yay. Anyone opposed? Nay. Okay. Discussion regarding student schedules and minimum instructional minutes and policy. This is a discussion item only. Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. So, this is a really interesting topic. I'm very curious. I think, to what you alluded to a little bit in your report, Lewis, regarding, just the evolution of education and how it truly needs to align with students' post-secondary goals and their opportunities that we provide for them. First, I'd like to thank, Chuck and Christy for their thoughtful approach in drafting what could be a policy that would support some of our really dynamic and unique learners. We've got tremendous students who, embed themselves in their courses at Annalee and stay focused on, that particular experience. And then we have the students who take JC classes at multiple JCs and students who work and students who are very focused on what they want to do upon graduation. And, I've grappled with some requests, some things, some past practices in looking at, where do we provide different opportunities for that small percentage of students that might just need a little bit more. And what we don't want to do is lose students who maybe, are motivated and want to do something, different to another high school that allows it. So we haven't allowed students to take less than 5 courses in past years. And we've even looked at how we could be more flexible with where the students have a free period when they become a junior and are eligible for 1 free period, or when they become a senior and are eligible for 2 free periods. Kind of that chicken and egg thing with our 7-period day. Students trend towards their 220 required graduation credits. And then they have some opportunities to look at what aligns with their post-secondary goals. And I know that we've strengthened our process in terms of having those conversations with students that take a free period to make sure that it's really meaningful and aligns to their post-secondary goals, and encourage those students to grow in that capacity. So, what was proposed came about because there are students who are interested in taking less than 5 courses in their senior year. The impact, while educational code does allow it, and requires a minimum of 180 instructional minutes, would be on apportionment. So per that educational code, if we were to adopt a policy and with a very structured system in terms of how students basically request or initiate that conversation to the approval process, there's a fiscal impact here, right? So I think that's the consideration for the board. So I've included the materials, some language in the item. Chuck is also happy to speak on behalf of this as the board engages in discussion. And, I think that this is a big deal because we want to align and support our students' interests, but we also have a responsibility to maintain our fiduciary responsibilities that way. And let's just say there were 20 students in any given year, that would be a loss of 5 ADA and approximately $70,000 in revenue. So I'll open it up to the board for questions and let's have a discussion. And again, this isn't an action item. I'm just really interested to hear from the board and see what your appetite is in terms of exploring this possibility for our students.
So like you just threw out 20 there, is that about how many requests you currently get?
We haven't gotten those requests. We've had one particular request, but it has come up in my time here, and I know specifically that there was a student who left our district because they felt like they needed opportunities to graduate early and take less classes in their senior year and really accomplish all that they needed to accomplish in the district. So, we don't want to lose our students, but then we also have to consider what would the fiscal impact be. So that's really an unknown, and I think if we were to explore this, the process would need to be very, very tight and have like a pre-approval at the site-based, then recommendation to me, and then ultimately board approval because of the fiscal impact is what I envision having like a set deadline, you know, students must have this criteria met and meet with their administrative team in April, and then it would be then potentially agendized for board decision in May. We don't know what that number is. The number was thrown out to me, maybe at most 20 in any given year, and that's a huge fiscal impact on the district if it was 20. So I think we're still unpacking that and looking at what the numbers could be.
This is a real conundrum for me because, you know, one of our jobs is to remain fiscally responsible and remain fiscally solvent. And when you talk about having 20 possible kids, I think that might be a stretch, but you know, maybe those are out there. That could be a real impact. But I also know that there are young people. I was one of them. And the only reason I didn't leave early, take less classes, is because my mother wouldn't let me. But I definitely wanted to move on, and I had greater ideas. I'm glad she didn't, because everything worked out perfect in my life, but that's beside the point. Anyway, I think we have to be concerned about the kids, what it is they need. And then I'm very concerned because we did have a student leave because of this very issue. And so my concern is, well, we don't want to lose the whole ADA, right? And so if they're, pardon me, hell-bent that they're going to either take 4 classes or they're going to find somebody who will, and believe me, there are schools that will take them. Pivot will take them. Orchard View will take them. I think Windsor might take them. And we don't want to lose them and, you know, completely. So the other thought I would say is maybe we could convince them that that 5th class is an independent study class, and then we don't lose their ADA at all. So maybe that's something for us to think about too. One of the things that I would like to recommend under the eligibility criteria, I hear about parent approval. And I think we have to have, I think the administrators have to have a in-person conversation with mom and or dad or both, or a guardian. And then we have to have a signed statement that they agree to that, because I could see some of these students just, you know, wanting to do this and we don't get mom and dad's approval, and then we'll really be in hot water. So I think that needs to be an added piece of criteria.
I had a thought on that. So there's definitely like 2 ideas to this. One being like, when you're a senior, you're usually super burnt out and like you're done and you just don't want to take any more classes. I'm definitely one of those people, but I'm choosing not to do it. And I think like I wasn't going to do a language next year, but then Miss Meds had Mr. Baptista come into our class, talk about it, and then talking about how like free periods when you're upperclassmen can be just a loss on your own education. Like I have some friends that are seniors that they could have had 2 free periods, but like they're taking an art class or like they're taking another science or just things like that that they don't have to do, but they're just doing it because it's free right now. And like, it's just their own like betterment of their education. And so like 2 periods is great, but 3 is like, that's kind of wild. I mean, that'd be a nice opportunity. And I think for some cases, it's definitely important to look at. Like, I think if a kid needs it, or like they need it because of work or their family situation or like transportation, if we think about it like that, or they're maybe one of like a Laguna type situation where they're already not doing the best in school, and like this may be a better opportunity for them to stay annually or something like that. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but like, I don't know. I think it's a good, like I'm taking 6 instead of 5 next year just to do another elective, like for fun. Yeah. Oh, thanks. But like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, typically what we do is then we take public comment after board discussion. So, but it's up to the board. So.
Thank you for letting me jump in here. To me, this is a hard no. This is an open door where it wouldn't be 20 kids, it would be 100, 150 seniors. This is so tempting. Free periods are so tempting for seniors. JC classes are 1 semester. So then the following semester, they might have 2 academic classes, 2 electives. They're not really a student in our high school at that point. They're just lingering with us. This is going to be a floodgate. Please say no. Not only for the financial impact, but the educational impact, exactly what Alina's talking about. This is your last opportunity for your free public education, your senior year. I can't tell you how many seniors don't take math their senior year because it's not part of our graduation requirement to take more than 2 courses. So then they go off to the JC, and there are no remedial courses anymore at the junior college. There's no remedial math. There's no remedial English. They go straight into English 1A. They go straight into a math class that's college algebra. And they haven't taken a year of math, and it might not have been their strongest subject to begin with. We need to, if anything, up our graduation requirements to include an additional year of science or math to graduate from our school. If you allow this to happen, it's going to be far more than 20 kids. We have to hold the line. I don't know of a comprehensive high school in Sonoma County that allows this to happen. My kids go to Santa Rosa. This was not allowed. My daughter took a lot of JC classes to graduate from high school. She had to still take 5 classes her senior year, and that put her on campus with her friends. Good for mental health, good for social engagement, and she took a couple classes she wouldn't have otherwise taken. Please, just say no, shut it down, don't let it happen. Thank you.
I'll put my 2 cents worth in. I respectfully disagree with what Lily said, but I do respect her a lot. I think this is a potential program geared toward overachievers. This is the rare group of kids that are getting straight A's in the classes. They've already completed all their college. They already have some college credits, and they don't want to be forced to take a 5th class in high school because they're done with it, because they're overachieving. And the way to ensure that is with this very strict application process where you just don't get approved for this unless you meet some very high standards in terms of your grades, your academics, all that kind of thing. My concern.
Let's not do the discussion back and forth.
Okay, thank you. Well, again, if there's very strict criteria, my concern, I know the student who left last year, she was like way overachieving. She took all the hardest classes she could here, and she was like taking college classes, and we couldn't accommodate her, and she left, so we lost all the ADA. You know, we're talking about 2/5. It's 20% of the ADA that you would lose if they were able to take a class, take 4 classes. So I think we need to meet the needs of the students.
Okay. Who do you think who would approve those? Like our admin and like our counselors?
So, yeah, we would.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We would need to embed this very technical language within a current board policy. As Lewis said, very, very high standard requirements. First meeting with the administration, like a team, counselor, teacher rep, that would all need to be flushed out. Then ultimately, I think the board would need to make the final decision. So it would be the way I envision it. And just for the record, I am struggling. I initially said no, okay? For many of the reasons that Lily mentioned, I talked about it in my superintendent's report. I really believe in the foundation of the high school experience. I think it helps to shape our students. It's not feasible for us to increase graduation requirements. That puts us in this position where some students need or choose, like Alina said, to take a 6th or 7th period when they just want to do that to further enrich their experience. But there are those outliers. So I think the process, it would need to be very strict, very formal, and have extremely high standards for those unique students that might otherwise leave the district. So I'm really struggling with this, and I don't think we need to rush this decision. We're not making a decision tonight. It's just the first step in the conversation. So that's what I've got.
Oh, no, go ahead, Linda.
So I have a question about the monitoring and adjustment. Um, if at any time it falls below a C. We have kids, I think, at Emily right now that probably should be at Laguna, but they're waiting to see if they pick themselves up. If we have this at any point, these kids fall below a C, I mean, that's like a daily monitoring of these kids. How do we do that? How do we track? That's a lot. I mean, if it's 20 kids, it's 20 grading things we have to look at. I can see what Lily has said about you have rules, this is the way we do something, and that falls by the wayside. I mean, we want to make sure that whatever we do here, if we're going to do something to allow these that like just the letter we got to go forth, there has to be the monitoring to make sure. I mean, that's to me, and that it's going to go forward, and we're not going to have a counselor oh, it's okay, because it's not okay. It's not okay.
I also question the C. I'm wondering if it shouldn't be a B average, not a C.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that I would revise. I just wanted to honor the work that Christy and Chuck put in with their initial proposal. I think that if there's a GPA or grade requirement, in my opinion, it should be all A's if we're going to allow, a fourth free period. But I think that there's further discussions to be had. I think, it might be good for the board to also hear Chuck's perspective on this. I see Heidi moving towards the podium. Maybe she would like to speak. I think it's important, but any other trustees?
I have a question first. So Jeannie mentioned maybe, excuse me, having this free period really be like an independent study period so that we're not really losing ADA.
Yeah.
Is that even a possibility?
Absolutely. I think that, I would encourage at all costs that students find an opportunity to take that fifth class, whether it is, that would entail looking at offering hybrid for a student to take one class via independent study, which we haven't allowed. There are some concerns in that regard as well. In meeting with the student that requested this, I talked about they've implemented the work-based learning period in which they have a job and they have a teacher of record. They're still enrolled. It's still aligned with the Annalee experience. I mean, that would be my preference, is that we find a different mechanism where they're still earning 5 credits, but then they have the time, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the time in the day to take that extra course at the JC.
What I'm kind of getting at is that it seems like focusing on the money is kind of muddying the waters of what we maybe should be talking about, as maybe what Lily's talking about, versus not holding back a really high achiever,
Right.
Because I think that probably most seniors that hear about this will go, oh, cool, a free period, but really what we're trying to do is not hold someone back that really wants to go out and learn something.
Yep.
And earn a living.
Yeah.
And also, there's ways to get around having 5 anyway. Like, I had a bunch of friends a couple years ago that took 5 periods, but one of them was a TA, and like the teacher would let them
We don't really have that anymore.
Don't we?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, we do right now. I have a.
Right now, but next year it's not going to be the same program.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Right. Even, yeah. Yeah. Even so, like, there's seniors this year that found out they didn't have enough credits and they needed to TA, like a 7th period or a 6th period. And like, that sucks. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of loopholes through this. Like, even just in schedules, there's people that fly through the cracks. Like, last year, one of my friends had a free first and he was a sophomore, and that was just a mistake that like happened with counseling. And I think there's just things that, yeah, like like things like this can happen without anyone's knowledge. And like, I don't know, I just feel like I I feel like there's things that could
Yep.
just fly through. I don't know.
Can we hear from Chuck?
I believe really strongly in options for kids. I think it's super important. It's probably one of the most difficult parts of my work is to not be able to provide something that is going to be valuable and fulfilling for a student, young person, right? That said, I also think it's really our duty to preserve the integrity of the Annalee diploma. I think it's super important to do. If we are able to provide options for students outside that structure, they have to be extraordinarily rare. Extraordinarily rare. As mentioned, we have already built in a new work experience course designed to provide the kind of flexibility. The student in question who actually prompted much of this discussion already has that course. So he's actually asking for that and an additional, and it's so this becomes, as mentioned, kind of a slippery slope. We will have lots of folks trying to get something like that. I think it's going to need to be very difficult for them to get it if you decide to go that way. The other thing I want to bring to your attention, when we do something like this, those periods come off of either end of the day, right? 6th or 7th or 1st or 2nd, generally speaking. The impact of that already on this campus, that's where our free periods are, but the impact of that is to compress our course enrollment in the middle of the day. One thing we might have to account for is teacher overages. If we're having a disproportionate number of those classes, be in that middle of the day, I think that would be a calculation to make depending on how many slots you would make available for this kind of student. One possibility would be to limit it. Maybe there's 2 kids a year who you might think about, who would be eligible for something like this. But I think it would have to be extremely rare. For most of our students, the absolute best thing for them is going to be to complete the regular program at Annalee. If there are strange exceptions that come up, right? I mean, I'm all about trying to figure out like how can we best serve this particular kid and find that program. But we have a ton and an increasing amount of flexibility within the Annalee schedule, and the Annalee schedule can do a lot.
Thank you.
I think equity is an important consideration as well, right? I think that the type of student we're speaking to, there may be a student without those opportunities that's equally talented and motivated. So I think that was something that kind of stuck with me as well.
Well, I think this is something for us to continue to kind of fetter out and see what I like the idea of what Chuck said about maybe limiting it on maybe kids have to sort of like apply and then they're chosen to do that and we only take a small amount if that's the case. I mean, I don't know.
Let's hear from Heidi, and then I think we should probably just wrap this up and move on. Yeah.
Go ahead, Ria. No, you go. No, you guys get to say it first.
Well, I just said that I wanted to say something before we wrapped it up. And it does seem to be like, I think we also need to think about, not just the student, but the whole. And just like when you decrease funding or throw off the hours or the class sizes and things like that, that it can have an impact on just like the other students too. And to like, it's possible there are, a couple more that would be interested, but I mean, it's hard to want to go down the road of creating a policy that was geared towards kind of a situation that came up for one student.
Okay, I have one more thing. I'm so sorry. Okay, my last point, and I would have a couple months ago, I would have begged to have 4 periods. Like, and I've taken JC classes. I have really good grades. I think it could apply to me. But some of my best friends are these top students, these rare cases that have always gotten straight A's. They've taken JC classes. They've like some of the smartest kids at the school. And that would just be a loss. Like, I wouldn't have lunch with them. I wouldn't see them a lot every day. And like, let's just think about that. And like, that could also just create jealousy and discourse between kids and like loss of experience at school. And like I was thinking about it. I have a free first this year and I get here right when class starts. I don't really get there before, like for break. And I only see my friends for like 30 minutes at lunch. Like, that's already a loss. And like not being able to have lunch with some of my friends would really suck. Sorry. But like, it's true. I just don't think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Heidi.
Engagement, belonging, readiness are 3 words that are thrown around a lot at Annalee. Trying to get kids engaged on campus, make sure they feel belonging, and feel that home of Annalee. And are they truly ready? Our Youth Truth Survey is constantly telling us that readiness is our lowest score. I know we have these outliers. One thing that we had to do this year with CCAP is we audited our educational minutes, and all these kids that were taking CCAP classes were actually pulled back into classes because they didn't meet educational minute requirements, or we would have gotten 70% or 75% ADA, which is this same situation. And we told those kids, no, you cannot have that extra free period. Your college class on campus is your free period. And we pulled them back in. We did that for 40 kids. Christy Howson took the brunt of it by reaching out to those families to say, oh, by the way, I know it's your senior year, but you don't actually get that free 7th. And because of this mentality of I'm a senior, so I get 2 free periods, that was really rough. And it kind of tainted the work experience class for what it could have been. And they came into work experience because that was one of the easier ones. A lot of them said, well, I have a job. I need to leave for that. Well, we have something. We have a container to let you still go to your job and get early college credit. And so I would love to ask every kid, are you taking advantage? We have 70 electives. We have pathways. We have AP courses. We have there's so many opportunities at Annalee, not just checking the box to college, not just I'm getting a high school diploma. What else have you done at Annalee to actually make an impact in your readiness, in your whole 4 years of high school container to move on before we're allowing kids just free willy on this?
Wow, thank you. That's really compelling. Okay.
Why isn't that happening anyway? I mean, why isn't there someone saying, no, looking at them?
Just last week, I sent out emails to 450 kids who requested free 6th and 7th. 450 kids requesting free 6th and or 7th. And their parents individually. I send emails to every kid, every parent with those requests. And I simply asked, are you taking advantage? Congratulations, you're on track to graduate. We acknowledge this. We're proud of you for that. But have you taken advantage of everything Annalee has to offer? I mentioned the pathway completers. I've mentioned the early college credit, the teacher intern, which is going to get them early college credit, all the things. There were 6 different options they could have done. We got 5 emails back because the mentality is I get a free period. They said there's an application process. You guys have said there's an application process, a free period. It's not being implemented. It's a
mindset.
It's a mindset. It's this culture, and it needs to be a culture shift. We have things at Annalee that other districts, other sites, other places in the state don't get to offer, and we are special. We get to offer those. We need to keep kids in our classes and in our programs.
There was just a bunch of things said here just in this conversation that there was a senior who didn't know he didn't have enough credits to graduate. Oh my God, why not? Personally, to me, that's a crime.
That's not okay.
And that's just me, because I've actually had to deal with that with my daughter when she went to college. When she was allowed to drop a class that I didn't know about that kept her from accepting a D1 scholarship. And that was so hard. But it was a learning experience for her. But I had to go in and talk to the counselor. What are you thinking? That's the whole thing. It's a process that kids are pretty short-sighted about what's out there. And it needs to be, we need to do a better job at it. Absolutely.
I know as a parent, when my daughter was a senior, she wanted to take 2 free periods. And was and is a very talented artist, but had never taken any art classes. And her father and I looked at her and said, when you take an art class, whether it's here at the JC, then you can have a free period. But I think we're probably one of, obviously, only a small handful of parents that feel that. And it actually made all the difference in the world for her with regards to the skills that she learned. And she ended up winning a senior art award. Go figure.
Yeah, I don't think we're ready to make any decisions, and I don't think that's what I was looking for tonight. This was a very informative conversation to hear from everybody that spoke, and you know, I'm of the mindset right now that we need to strengthen the current systems around the freedom that students do have within the schedule, and then talk about this in a future, you know, year or two down the road.
But thank you for bringing it to us.
Yeah, it's really.
It's an important discussion.
Okay, we are moving to human resources. Dan.
All right. Lots of items under human resources this evening. The first item, I'll let you guys make a motion on this. This is a resolution. So if you want to make a motion, then
I'm
I
going
can.
to take over for Lewis here. So do I have a motion on human resource item 1?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay, you'll recall at the March 12th meeting, the preliminary PKS reductions were voted and approved. And at that time, it was the equivalent of 7.0 FTE or full-time certificated employees. We have continued to look at where we are currently with enrollments and so forth. And we are here now prior to the May 15th deadline, bringing forward the final resolution around those PKS layoffs. At this time, we are still moving forward with the 7.0 FTE reductions with no changes from what was approved at the March 12th meeting. The one significant change to this is at that time we talked about the actual impact on current personnel. At that time, it was impacting 1.2 FTE. You'll see on Exhibit A of this item, the 2 individuals who were to be laid off, one full-time, one a 0.20 FTE. Very pleased to report, and as you'll note on Exhibit B, that after review of a number of things, including the seniority list and credentialing and so forth, that the 1.0 FTE layoff was able to be rescinded. So that individual has been notified that they will be back at the high school next year. And so even with the 7.0 FTE reduction, all but 0.20 FTE of that has been able to be absorbed by retirements, resignations, leaves of absence, and so forth. So we're recommending approval of this resolution. It is a roll call vote once you have a chance to discuss it, and I'll take any questions you
Is
have.
there any discussion from the board? Any discussion from the audience? All in favor?
It's a roll
Oh,
call, it's a
sorry, you're right,
resolution,
you
so I'll
said
just run
that.
through.
I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was just wondering what the administrative assistant job description would be, because we think we had a.
That's a future, that's
That's not
another.
a part of this one.
That's not on this
Oh,
one.
really?
We're
Sorry,
on,
never mind,
we're
never
on,
mind.
We're on number 1.
B1. Sorry. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, that's a little later on the agenda.
Call.
Okay, Trustee Buckner.
Aye.
Trustee Chernilla.
Aye.
Trustee Fernandez.
Aye.
Trustee Helton. Trustee Katera.
Aye.
Thank you.
Consideration of approval of resolution 28 in the matter, I love how they say certain classified employees, of the decision to not reemploy or reduce their hours for 2025, 2026. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dan.
Also, at the March meeting, you approved the preliminary resolution regarding classified reductions for 2025, 2026. Those reductions totaled 2.375 FTE. In almost all cases, they were reductions in hours. There was one 3-hour position that was eliminated. we are back at this point with the final resolution with that same number, 2.375 FTE reductions. That's what the consideration is before you. Again, I'll take any questions, and then it would be a roll call vote.
Questions? Okay, roll call vote.
Trustee Buckner.
Aye.
Trustee Chernilla.
Aye.
Trustee Fernandez.
Aye.
Trustee Helton. Trustee Katera.
Aye.
Thank you.
Number 3, consideration of approval of Resolution 29, Sonoma County Union High School District Employee Appreciation Day. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Can I
Dan?
can I interrupt for a second? I
Yes.
just want to say goodnight for the evening. I do have to leave early, so I apologize and thank you.
Okay. Do I have your proxy? Vote whatever I want on your behalf.
I don't think it works that way.
We'll see. Thanks, Jeannie.
Okay.
You guys.
All right, this is a bit more of a joyful resolution that is before you. As you know, and you've heard from just a handful of them tonight, but we have an amazing staff throughout the district, both certificated and classified. And as Superintendent Meredith referenced earlier, we are very pleased, not only on this day, but throughout the year, to be able to acknowledge the great work they do on behalf of students and families in the West County and beyond. We have over 200 employees serving over 1,500 students in all range of capacities and meeting the needs of so many students. And so what we are asking tonight is that the board approve this resolution designating May 8th, 2025, tomorrow, as West Sonoma County Union High School District Employee Appreciation Day, again, with the caveat that they are appreciated throughout the year, certainly, but tomorrow we want to provide that special recognition. So. And again, it is a roll call vote.
And there's a barbecue.
And there is a barbecue, yes. There have been a number of activities I know that each of the sites has been organizing. The Alumni Association tomorrow is organizing a barbecue. 3 o'clock, I believe, is when the food will be ready. Is that correct? So beginning at 3 o'clock tomorrow, staff will be able to enjoy a barbecue down at the stadium snack bar. So once you're ready, we can do the roll call vote.
I think we're ready.
All right. Trustee Buckner?
Yes, please.
Trustee Chernilla?
Aye.
Trustee Fernandez is absent. Trustee Helton? Trustee Katera?
Aye.
Thank you. Student board member, sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't catch you on those other ones.
Okay, consideration of approval of public disclosure of collective bargaining unit agreement with West Sonoma County Teachers Association. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Linda, thank you. Second.
I'll second.
John, thank you. Dan?
Okay, I'm presenting this in part on behalf of CBO Andrew Solis, who wasn't able to be with us tonight. He has put together this required disclosure, AB 1200 disclosure. Anytime we have a tentative agreement or an agreement in place with our bargaining units, we basically need to be able to document that we're able to afford the agreement that we have in place. And so he has put together the this disclosure for your approval, and then this will be sent forward. He has documented that we are in a position to afford the agreement that we have entered into with the West Sonoma County Teachers Association.
Any questions? Okay.
And is that also a roll call? That I'm not
think
sure.
so.
That doesn't need to be. Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No? That passes.
Thank you.
And then consideration of approval of tentative agreement between West Sonoma County High School and, am I reading the right one here?
Yes, the TA. Mhm.
5. We're on number 5.
Yes.
Right? Okay, sorry. It's a long night. Consideration of approval of tentative agreement between the high school district and the WSCTA. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Dan?
Thank you. Very, very pleased to be presenting this item tonight. As Superintendent Meredith mentioned earlier, it's I think, very unique, and we are certainly very appreciative of the relationship we have with our Teachers Association to be able to enter into negotiations in the way that we do, without attorneys, without outside representation, to be able to have very cordial conversations about very difficult topics. So I just want to give a shout out to, in particular, that negotiating team, Lily, Brian, Joel, and Shaylin. It is wonderful to be able to work collaboratively in the way that we do. Some of the highlights of the agreement that are in front of you, I just want to point out, we have agreed on a 4% salary increase across the salary schedule. Another unique, and this was I think a good example of the way that the two parties were able to work together. There was some conversation about number of steps and number of columns, which had been reduced most recently. And in our back and forth conversation, we landed on kind of a unique, what I find to be a unique thing. I don't think there's a lot of places that have this. And as I've shared this with some of our new staff members that I've been onboarding, some of our new hires that I've been onboarding, they're very impressed with this particular item. So we currently have 16 steps in column 2, BA plus 30. Staff who earn units beyond their bachelor's degree to get over to the far right column, column 3, need to get to 60 units. If they reach that 16th step without having made it over to BA plus 60, they will automatically move to step 17 in column 3 at that point. And really what we're acknowledging there is that that number of years of service is certainly equivalent or commensurate with those extra units that they would have earned. That was a recommendation that was brought forward by the Teachers Association, and we certainly felt that was a compelling argument. So that's in this agreement. We also acknowledge the additional workload that many of our special education teachers have in the RSP, ED, and ESN categories, and so we have agreed to 4 release days and a $2,000 stipend for teachers in those full-time teachers in those classifications as a result of the increased workload that they have. I won't go into the specifics of this next one, but there are some, we did talk a lot about caseloads and overage amounts for special education programs, since the normal formula for overages doesn't necessarily work with many of the enrollment numbers in special education, and so we came to agreements around that. And then finally, the final thing I want to highlight is that up to 10 days of injury and illness leave will now be used annually for personal business at the employee's discretion. Basically, these are what we've often referred to as kind of no-tell days, but creating greater flexibility for so our certificated bargaining unit members to use their 10 days a year that they have at their discretion. They're professionals, and we want to treat them as such, and so we were able to agree on that as well. So with that, the agreement is before you. I'll take any questions that you have, and then put to a vote.
Okay. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unopposed.
Thank you, and thank
Good
you,
work,
Lily, and your
everyone.
team.
Thank you. Okay, consideration of approval of the management salary schedule for 25-26 school year. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Linda, thank you. A second.
I'll second.
John. Dan.
Okay. You as a board have certainly talked about in recent meetings the structural deficit that we want to address as soon as possible, and so we've looked very closely across the entire district, certainly at both bargaining units as we were looking at what reductions need to be made, looking at the district office, and now looking at our management salary schedule, and we came to the decision that for 25-26 we will not be having any raises to the management salary schedule. So felt like that was the appropriate thing to do. Given that structural deficit, we'll revisit that, as we will all agreements and things next year. So the management salary schedule you have before you to approve for next year is virtually the same as this year's, with one exception. You'll see a strike through for the consortium director of special education. We've created, and that's a slightly lower agenda item here, a new salary schedule to reflect the fact that those consortium positions are funded collectively by members of the consortium. And we wanted to distinguish between the management positions that are fully funded by West Sonoma County Union High School District and those that are shared with our partner districts in the consortium. And so that's the only change that's been made to this. And I just want to say the caveat, being the only raises that management will get this year would be any step increments that they're entitled to. So if they're not yet at their final step on the salary schedule, they would still be getting a raise, but there will be no percentage increases to the salary schedule.
Questions? Comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Thank you. Okay, consideration of approval of the auxiliary salary schedule for 25-26 school year. Do we have a motion on that, please?
So moved.
Sean, thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Rio. Dan?
Okay. One significant change to the auxiliary salary schedule for 25-26, and in order to reflect that, I've attached both this year's auxiliary salary schedule as well as the draft for next year that you're voting on. We were notified recently that a practice that we've had in place, and many districts have had in place for quite some time, is actually no longer allowable, or maybe hasn't been allowable, but it was brought to our attention. And that is having a separate rate of pay for substitutes who are district retirees. It is not allowable to have a separate rate of pay for the same work. And so as a result, what you'll see on the new draft auxiliary salary schedule for next year is that we've just eliminated that retiree substitute rate, and there's just one substitute rate for all subs, whether they were a prior district employee or not.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Okay, moving on to consideration of approval of the administrative assistant 4 job description. Do we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Linda, thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sean. Dan?
Okay. Currently, in our CSEA classifications, we have an administrative assistant 1, an administrative assistant 2, an administrative assistant 3, and then a lead administrative assistant. With the opening of the Academy of Innovative Arts here on the El Molino campus, we were looking at the responsibilities of the front office staff here on this campus to be able to serve a new school while also serving the students of Laguna High School that are currently here, or students and staff, I should say. We looked at those other classifications, 1, 2, 3, and the lead, and none of them really fit what the responsibilities will be once this new academy is open. And so with that, we brought forward a new job description, Administrative Assistant 4, that is unique to the individual who will be the administrative assistant on this campus. What you'll see here is that we've expanded the work year to actually include this person being the administrative assistant for summer school in future years. So the responsibilities would include supporting Laguna High School, supporting the Academy of Innovative Arts, supporting the West County Eye Academy, and then supporting summer school as well. So it's an expanded responsibility, therefore an expanded job description and a higher range. We did put the range classification on par with the lead administrative assistant position that we currently have. So that's the salary range that this is at.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, number 9. Consideration of approval of the occupational therapist job description. We need a motion for this as well.
So moved.
Thank you, Sean. I'll second. Dan?
Okay. The next 2 items are new job descriptions being brought forward largely as a result of proposed and planned expansion of the West County Consortium. So there's current planning to bring up to 4 new classes online for next school year. And with those new classrooms and additional students, and there would be need for additional services over and above what are currently provided in the consortium. Now, we do currently have occupational therapy an occupational therapist that we're working within the consortium, but we currently contract for that work. We have 1.4 FTE of contracted services right now for occupational therapy. With the expansion of the consortium, if the full expansion goes through, we'll need an additional 1.2 FTE of occupational therapists, which would bring the total to 2.6. In order to attract, quite frankly, the very difficult to hire folks into this position, we felt it was best to make it a district position that included then salary and benefits, vacation days, that type of thing. As a contract employee, it doesn't include those kinds of things. So that's what you see here. This is work that's currently being done, but we're actually formalizing the job description and making it a district position. It would, however, be a classified unrepresented position. And so you'll see on the salary schedule that we will be bringing forward a bit later where that falls. But it would be outside of the bargaining unit.
Any questions?
I do have one question. Is this position funded strictly by the district, or is this a mixed?
This one is a shared cost depending on, so this is the participating districts can purchase these types of services as part of the consortium, and so it's a shared cost across any of the 10 districts who then purchase these particular services. Yeah.
But it's our hire, so they 100% of their paycheck is guaranteed from our district, and then we're basically selling services to the other members of the consortium.
Well, they are our employees. We are the administrative entity for the consortium. And so all of the employees are ours, but the funding mechanism in terms of the money comes to us, and Superintendent Meredith can probably describe this better than I can, or if Andrew was here, he would be explaining this, but the funding comes to us and then is doled back out to the partner districts. I mean, but
Yeah, I mean, this is the complexity of the consortium. I see Sarah's on the Zoom, and I have talked to her about presenting to the board, just to give you a little bit more clarity on that work, on that structure and system, and then obviously with this expansion coming. So that's something that we'll talk about in terms of agenda setting for June meetings, but we only purchases the services that we need. And the majority of the funding comes from the partner districts. We're doing a service for our partner districts by holding this space as the administrative entity, and they're all our employees. So it's very complex. The fiscal impact here falls to the districts who purchase these services. So we don't purchase many services from the consortium. It's when we need incremental speech or psych or nurse, and that just depends on the needs of the students at Annalee and or Laguna. So, yeah.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Consideration of approval of behavioral specialist job description.
So, sorry.
And we have to have a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Sean. Second.
Second.
Linda, thank you. Dan?
So similarly, with the proposed expansion of the consortium, this is a new position that Director Zills has proposed and is bringing forward in order to meet the needs of these new classrooms that we would be opening. This would again be a classified unrepresented position, so it's on the salary schedule that's under item number 11. You'll see there, but very similar in terms of the cost of this is borne by those partner districts who purchase the services for, in this case, the behavior specialist. One unique thing about this position is a classified position, but there are different credentials that can be that can qualify someone to do this position. So you could have a certificated individual working in a classified position for this particular job, and it's described in there as to what credentials make someone eligible for this particular position.
Questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, consideration of approval of the management unrepresented salary schedule. Again, we need a motion.
So moved.
Sean, thank you.
Second.
Linda, thank you. Dan?
Okay. So again, this is a new salary schedule that was created in an effort to clarify the distinction between management positions that are fully funded by the West Sonoma County Union High School District and those that are then shared by all member districts in the consortium. So the three positions that you see on this salary schedule are all ones that are shared costs of the consortium districts. The consortium director of special education was previously on our management schedule, and then the behavior specialist and occupational therapist are the two positions that you just approved. I can take any questions you have about that, but otherwise that's what this is, and it really was to clarify the distinction between district funded and consortium funded.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Okay. We are now on consideration of approval of employment contract for West County Consortium Director, Sarah Zills. We need a motion.
So moved.
Linda, thank you. Second, I'll second. Dan?
Okay. Just as an FYI, we will be bringing all management contracts other than this one forward at the June meeting. In this case, we wanted to go ahead and move forward with getting Director Zills under contract, and it had a lot to do with the consortium council really wanted to make sure that we secured her employment for next year, particularly with this major expansion that we're talking about with the consortium. And so they also had conversation, and this is another of the unique aspects of the consortium. You have a consortium council made up of the superintendents of the member districts who oversee the council, but we are the administrative entity, so we employ, in this case, the director or other staff and so forth. So there was a recommendation made to increase the compensation for this position. The original recommendation was higher than where it landed on the salary schedule that you just saw. We took a lot of things into consideration, and where we landed was we put the director of special education for the consortium in line with the district's director of special education and student services. We felt that made a lot of sense to have those two in alignment in terms of the steps and the salary at each level. Even though one is paid all by the district and one is under the consortium districts. A couple of things to point out here in this particular contract. Most of this is identical to what the contract that Director Zills received last year. The differences are what you see on the third and fourth bullet points there. Given that expansion that I've referenced a few times, we know there's going to be an additional workload for this coming year, especially over the summer months. And so for 1 year only, we've agreed, or we're wanting to authorize a stipend equivalent to 10 additional days of paid work at the director's daily rate. So this amounts to, I believe it's $7,380 for those 10 days. It's really in response again to the knowing there's going to be an increased need for planning and preparations in order to get those classrooms open and ready for students come August. And just as one consideration there, should we fill all of the positions needed to fill all of those 4 classrooms, we're looking at about 32 positions that we currently have on EdJoin. So we're talking about a significant expansion that we need to have Director Zills oversee. The other distinction we made here, because of the nature of the consortium being spread out on so many campuses, including now potentially classrooms out in Guerneville and out in Occidental, we have increased the car allowance. So instead of the previous $100 a month car allowance, there is a $300 a month car allowance. And so those are the two changes. Everything else is the same compensation package that was on. And I do notice a typo there that was pointed out to me. That master's stipend says 1,000. It should say 2,000. that's the same for all district employees that was agreed upon, I believe, a year ago. So I'll take any questions on that, if the board has any.
Yeah, I mean, this might be going back just a step, but why is there an expansion?
So there's talk amongst the member districts. There's a number of students in those districts that are in what we call non-public schools or NPS schools, which can be extremely expensive. If a district doesn't have the ability to serve the particular needs of a student, they often have to look to a non-public school placement. And so the idea would be that if there is enough students to warrant opening up our own classrooms in the consortium, that we could offer the services needed by those students at a much more cost-effective rate. Still expensive, but much less than what it would cost for a district, for instance, to send someone out to some of the different non-public schools. So that's a major part of it. There's also some closures of SCO programs, which have been going on for many, many years as they've reduced their special ed offerings. And so the council has tentatively approved the opening of these 4 classrooms. They're currently tracking very closely the actual number of students. We're not committing to any hires until we know that those students are going to materialize. But at this point, in the numbers we looked at most recently, at least 3 of the 4 already look like they would have the numbers to warrant opening, and what we're kind of on the fence on that 4th one. But if you'll notice, if you go on EdJoin right now, you'll see all these postings, and it'll say an applicant pool. And really what we're indicating there is that no offer of employment is going to be made until we know that the class is actually going to be offered. We certainly don't want to be under the hook to pay someone and then realize, oops, that class isn't going forward. So we're being very careful fiscally to make sure we don't overreach here, but it definitely is looking like at least 3 of the 4, if not all 4 of those courses will warrant being opened.
And to clarify, if the students don't materialize for some reason and we have hired, the district is not on the hook for those salaries. The cost distribution model secures the commitment and the MOU from the member districts.
Right. So that would be, and that's why we are also on their behalf trying to be cautious, because it would really be on those other districts that would be on the hook for this.
Great, because those were my next 2 questions and got those answered. So great, thank you.
Other questions? All those in favor? Aye. None opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, we got through human resources, and education services is already done. And now we have Jenny.
Hello, I'm here to just give you guys some updates on the bond projects, but also to address some comments that were made earlier with respect to the parking lot at Annalee. I just want to clarify, only 5 spots were lost. I know it feels like more, but we created 25 additional spots and we took 31 away. That was right. So we took 6. So yeah, it just feels very tight. So I just wanted to clarify that. And those spots will not be restored. That is your new parking lot situation. That staff will be at the upper parking lot forever now. Forever. If you remember what movie that's from. The Sandlot. Laguna, I know Jamie mentioned the garbage at Laguna. Due to the nature of construction, we kept blocking their access, but I will say that they weren't really trying that hard to get access. The garbage we've increased to versus 1 day a week at a 2-yard dumpster to 3 days a week at a 6-yard dumpster. We're just waiting for them to drop off our new dumpster. We do have a huge amount of community people who use our facility as their public park and sometimes aren't as kind about picking up after themselves. So I too echo, please pick up after yourself. Couple other things that we have going on. Laguna Improvement Project here is nearly complete. You probably showed up today and noticed the new asphalt and slurry seal everywhere. We really wanted to get that finished and accomplished, especially for graduation. So it'll look really beautiful there. We're at the tail end of everything. They're just painting the gym right now. The front building will not get finished. The F building, you'll see there's still the old coloring system. That's because we have the F building HVAC and roofing project happening this summer. So that is a transition. Laguna High School building F, HVAC and roofing will start June 9th. Laguna AIA signage, we're currently working on getting some building identifiers out there and some path of travel. They call them something specific and I can't think of what they call. What? Wayfinding. Thank you. We're working on all of those, and there's been discussions with Greg as well as Chris regarding waiting for some of the branding to happen based on a lot of student input and feedback on how that culture will kind of develop as it starts. But I didn't want you to think that we had forgotten about it. Annalee CTE project is well underway. The ground shaking has ceased. We thank and appreciate all the teachers and students who had to deal with a lot of underground work that was happening. And I got several questions about like, why do they keep digging holes and then like putting the dirt back? It's because we need to achieve compaction before we put a building on top of it. And due to the nature of the soil that was out there, we had to add lime and concrete to it to achieve that compaction. So that ground shaking is pretty well done. We are in the middle of putting down footings. We are taking drone footage every Thursday. It goes on the same path, and so we'll be posting pictures. Annalee Small Gym and Big Gym are set to start also in June. We are going to be starting the small gym on May 19th. We're going to be setting up a small perimeter at the backside of the small gym, and we are going to enclose the area, much like when you go to the city and you see the high rises and they've got scaffolding and it's completely encapsulated. We'll be doing that on two sides of the building so they can get ahead of the dry rot, because we're not really sure what we're going to find there. We have a lot of work happening this summer. $40 million of construction happening right now. It's insane. I think we have 4 OAC, that's owner architect contractor meetings a week. We get countless submittals, RFIs, ASIs, requests for change orders. My inbox is constantly flooded, but it's really fun and exciting to see things come to fruition. One person who couldn't be here tonight was Denise Fisher. She has been diligently working on our lock project. We've been waiting for some new technology to come out so that we can put it in our new building. We're just updating our specifications based on experience. We wanted to go fully automated and do key card passes, and we've struggled to like the system that we have in place right now, and we're really thankful for that system really giving us an eye-opener to, hey, we don't want this for our new facility. Sometimes, like going forward with really great technology sounds wonderful, but keys always work. And we had some tough lessons learned there. And our lock partner has presented us with this new option, which kind of addresses one of Julie Aiello, our former board members' big push was for security locks. You guys hear them called as Columbine locks. I don't like to call them that. They're security locks. That means that they're able to be locked from the inside. Typically, you see that with a cylinder lock. We're proposing going to a push-button lock system. This was largely in part. We are a high school campus. We are not an elementary school. Our students very well could have the potential to lock somebody out, but we usually have a teacher who has a key. This isn't about elementary kids potentially being locked inside. This was giving our all of our staff and our students the ability to lock down in the case of an emergency. And this would be in the majority of spaces, not all. We would go to a push button lock, and we brought a lock here for you guys to look at today. It helps identify when the door is locked. It's really, really clear. if you guys can see over here, when I push the button lock, it goes red. And when I unlock it, it goes green. So it's a visual indicator from both the interior and the exterior that the lock is either locked or unlocked. And we believe that this is probably a really good strategy for us to move forward to, considering I think Chris mentioned it at one point, like you had to write on your door, lock it this way. If anyone's been in the classroom, or, like Alana, I'm sure you've seen on the back of the door, it says there's an arrow pointing what way to turn the key from the interior. It also saves us on double keying every single lock. This is a change from what we had discussed with the board previously. Not necessarily looking for direction per se, but more just is this in alignment with something that you guys would want us to do? And happy to answer questions. That's pretty much my report for the evening.
Thank you. Questions? Locks, keys?
Well, I mean, I guess like, is that a standard one that's used elsewhere for like other schools or something like that? Have you had some feedback from?
So the market has changed pretty dramatically because I think Dan, when I sent out the video of me using this, Dan asked the question like, are we allowed to put push button locks on classrooms? And my response was, that's kind of an old school methodology. Like it used to be like, never put a push button lock anywhere because kids could potentially lock themselves in there, do nefarious things or be silly or do whatever. And okay, you'd be surprised what happened in a band room once. So I kind of we have to balance the need for safety and security, which seems to be on the rise with gun violence on campuses, and the ability for students, staff to go into any space and then lock themselves down. We had lengthy discussions about this at previous board meetings where, we could have a key next to a door and keys concern us because the keys next to the door are keyed to all access pass areas where we want teachers to be able to get into bathrooms, et cetera, front main doors. So it's like, how do you solve a problem? And do we want to put the safety and security at the higher end, or do we want to put, making sure that these can be locked only by staff? So it's a little bit of a risk out there for us to do something new. You can obviously see here, because they have these on a door handle, that this is the way districts are moving, because our vendors have responded to the need for safety and security over the need for a potential incident where a student's going to be in a classroom. We all know that students aren't supposed to be left in a classroom unattended, but we all are at a high school district and we know that it happens. So these are being used. This is their newest product that they have out. It's the same lock set, to try to answer your question, that we would have ordered. It just happens to have this cool new feature of showing you if it's locked or unlocked. We've asked for a couple specifics. If we move forward with it, we want a red button, just to ensure.
Do they make the same product where you have the key on both sides?
Correct,
and
they
it
do.
indicates, because I think that's one of the considerations, that some things I've heard regarding these locks is that, and it's obviously a situation you never hope to get into, but that then an active shooter or like a perpetrator could lock themselves in that room, right? So those of you who've been on the board for a few years, we've talked about locks a lot. So I mean, that would be my only concern with the push button system, is.
What about like accidental? I mean, I've accidentally locked a push button lock myself, seems pretty likely also.
I mean,
Presumably, everyone who is a teacher or staff member on campus usually has their keys on their person. And if they're not leaving their door unlocked, they would have it with them pretty accessible. The biggest issue that I think that we have is if it's keyed on the inside, and mind you, I'm not saying one way or the other, if it's keyed on the inside, that limits students' ability to lock themselves in a place where they might find protection. And so it really is an ultimate discussion. For now, if the board isn't comfortable going in any particular direction, we can continue with the system that we have, which is the same type of lock system is available with the key on the inside. So instead of pushing the button, you lock it down and it still shows you that it's locked. I think it's a great visual indicator, not just for staff safety and security. When we do lockdown drills, the feedback I got, oh, this would be a great visual indicator of you don't have to go around and latch on the door, which is what our staff does currently. You would be able to see that it was locked just visually. Also, shameless plug here for custodial, we would see that the doors were locked because sometimes we have to double back and go look at all the doors because people come in and out and they don't lock it. So this is a good visual indicator. This is also not for our panic hallways, right? So anywhere you have like panic hardware where you have to egress out, like when you leave here, this would not be that system. Those are totally different lockdown system. So it's kind of, I can see that we're not really sure where we want to go with this or what would be best. So we don't have to change it, but we do like the green and the red for sure. I like it.
I like it too. Is it battery powered?
No, it's all built in. If I can send it around, I will happily send it around.
Jenny,
to you.
can I ask a quick question? Is there an opportunity, since we are sort of weighing options here, the folks who are going to be impacted the most by this are the classroom teachers? Has there been a chance for them, or will there be a chance for them to kind of give some input for a decision to be made? Just
Interior and exterior. You know, I think there could be a case for all of that for sure. It could be a visual indicator that yes, there are people in there. It could be just about everything. I think there's pros and cons to this all along on each side. It just depends on what's best for our district. Right now, with a lockdown drill, I just think about of the 7 people that I hear on the radio going around, they're literally tugging on doors to make sure they're all locked. That would be an easy visual indicator. It would be an easy visual indicator for fire, police, EMS. But it could also be an easy visual indicator for somebody who is there to do harm. So absolutely. Like where they have interior hallways versus exterior access, like Villages exposed, where so double key is when you have a cylinder on the outside and the inside. All of our current locks are a double key. So you have to have a cylinder on the outside and a cylinder on the inside. What we've done over the years is we've keyed all the interior locks to the same keyway. So it doesn't matter if that's your classroom, it's still an A1 pass, all pass. So any teacher, any staff member on the inside of any space can lock down wherever they're at. This going to push button would eliminate that. It's like no decision has to be made today. I kind of have enough feedback on what we want to do for the new building, and what I would recommend right now is any exterior access classroom wouldn't have the exterior visibility. It would have it on the interior though, which would be a very good visual indicator, because every time we hear about lockdowns, we hear about, I don't know what way to turn my key, because it's a 360-degree cylinder spinning system.
Can we get a small group of stakeholders to make this decision? Like, a couple teachers, an administrator, somebody from custodial, and you, and make the decision, because it feels like we're down in the weeds, and the board, I mean, the board should do what the people who are really going to use it need. So that be done without a whole lot of effort? That way people really have input.
Yeah, I can do whatever you direct me to do.
Yeah, I'm trying not to make your life more difficult though, too. Just
Well, I feel like I have good direction right now. I have to make a decision for the locks that we're changing the lock system for the CTE facility. We're not going to do smart locks. That is a decision that is being made off of real life experience.
that makes sense.
I feel, since I don't have good information from the committee, but I do need to make a decision relatively quickly, that we can continue with the same exact system that we have in place right now, which is the security locks with the internal lock mechanism. But we are going to go forward with the visual indicator on the inside of the classroom only. That's for the CTE project. Then we can develop a small committee to address how we further expand this. So I think that gives, if the board is comfortable with that, that doesn't change our existing system. It just, except from the interior lock perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Can we come to the podium, please?
Yes, please.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I was mentioning. Yes. Yes. That was my recommendation, to move forward with an existing lock set system that is exactly what we have, except the inside would be the visual indicator.
Yay. You have a need? You good?
I feel good.
I think,
Thank you.
Anybody, any last things we need to talk about?
You need a motion.
We're adjourned. Thank you.